students, welcome to the first session of the chemistry class, that is the syllabus of second year. Okay, so in this class I will be starting with the first chapter of your syllabus, that is the solid state. Okay, so we are starting with the chapter the solid state, and this is the first session of the chapter the solid state. So dear students, in your first year, under the chapter states of matter, we have learned about the liquid gas state and the gaseous state, and we have learned the introduction of the three states of matter, that is the solid, liquid and the gases. There we learned about the liquid and the gaseous state in details, but we were left out of the topic, that is the solid state. So in this, that is in the second year, we are going to learn about the solid states in details. Okay, so now, before entering to the topic, let me revise you something which you have learned about the solid state or the three states of matter. So now, we know we can easily distinguish the solid, liquid and gas whenever you look at certain substance, right students? So whenever you look at the liquid, so now see, in this bottle you have a water, so you can consider this as a liquid. Easily we can identify this as a liquid state. And whenever you take any whenever you go through any substance, solid substance, you are easy to identify. See, this is a duster, so this you can easily identify it as a solid. And gas also you can identify, but it is invisible for us. Okay, so it is invisible for us, but we are able to say the given compound, the given substance is a gas when they are trapped inside certain glass jar or any cylinders, right? So there are certain characteristic properties which makes us to identify the given substance. We can identify the physical state of the matter, that is whether it is a solid, liquid or the gases. So now the question is, how we are going to distinguish what are the factors, main factors which explains the states of matter, that is which explains the physical state of given matter. So based on what factor the physical state of the given matter depends. Based on what factor the matter exists as a solid, liquid and the gases. Okay, so now see here, the two important factors are intermolecular forces and thermal energy. Okay, so the two factors, what are the factors which explains the physical state of matter? Intermolecular force and the thermal energy. There are two types of intermolecular force, attraction and the repulsion. So we are neglecting the repulsive force, we are concentrating on the attractive force here. So first let us discuss about the intermolecular force of attraction. Okay, so taking three states, that is solid, liquid and gases. So we have three states, solid, liquid and the gases. And in the solid, what is the intermolecular force of attraction? What do you mean by intermolecular force? If you have one matter, in the matter, if you consider a solid, the molecules are what? Compactly arranged. The molecules will be molecules of the species, constituent particles, atoms, ions or molecules. The constituent particles are compactly arranged. They are closer to each other, and because what is the reason? The intermolecular force of attraction is strong. The force of attraction between the constituent particle is strong. So they are rigid and they exist as a solid. If in a matter the intermolecular force of attraction is little bit weak, the molecules will be little far apart from each other, okay, then they will be appeared as a fluid, that is it will be appeared as a liquid. Okay, so in the liquid the intermolecular force of attraction is weak, and when you come across the gases, in the gases the intermolecular force of attraction is weakest. Okay, it is weakest, therefore the molecule will not be coming closer to each other. They are very far apart from each other, so we are not able to collect them and keep at one side easily. Okay, so what we can say, and that's why those matter exist as a gas where there is the intermolecular force of attraction is weakest. So this is one of the factors which affects the physical state of matter. So what is that? Intermolecular force of attraction. So in the solid, intermolecular force of attraction is strong. Liquid, it is weak, and the gas, it is the weakest. Okay, so this is regarding the intermolecular force of attraction. Weak in the gases, or liquid, weakest in the gases, and strong in case of the solid. And that is why we are able to distinguish the solid, liquid. Physically, we are able to distinguish the solid, liquid, and the gases easily. Next, coming to the another factor, that is the thermal energy. So what actually is this thermal energy? Thermal energy is nothing but the energy which is responsible, which provides a kinetic energy for the given substance, which supports the movement of the given substance. If thermal energy is high, then the particles will be moved. It will acquire a kinetic energy, then particles will be moved easily. If thermal energy is low, then particle will not be able to gain a kinetic energy. They will be residing at one position itself. So now, based on this statement, let us differentiate the solid, liquid, and the gases. As you know, in the solid, the molecules are what? The molecules are compactly arranged. That is because intermolecular force of attraction is strong. When the intermolecular force of attraction is strong, each molecule is surrounded tightly by the neighboring molecules, or not only molecules, atoms, ions, or we can say each constituent particle is surrounded by the neighboring constituent particles tightly. Okay, so just imagine if you are in a bus which full of passengers, and you are standing and you are not able to move anywhere. You are completely surrounded by other passengers. Okay, what is the only thing you can do? You cannot move from here to there, but you can just oscillate from one side to another side. You are just able to oscillate from one side to another side, but you are not able to move here and there in that bus if it is compact. Is it right? So if it is tightly packed with the passengers. The same way, in the solid, the constant particle, just they can oscillate from here to here. They can oscillate like this, but they cannot move everywhere. Okay, so that's why they have a low thermal energy. So since they have a low thermal energy, they are not able to move. They are not able to gain the energy and use it as a kinetic energy and move. So we can say in the solid, the constant particles are compactly arranged, tightly packed by the neighboring species or the constant particles. Therefore, they have low thermal energy. So for solid, the thermal energy is what, students? It is low. Whenever the particles are not moving, they are rigid, they are fixed at one position, then the thermal energy is low. Now, if in the liquid, the constant particles are little bit far, the intermolecular force of attraction is little bit weak compared to this. So they can move. So thermal energy is medium in the case of liquid. It is intermediate. Okay. Next, when you come to the gases, see, the constant particles are freely to move anywhere. They can easily gain the kinetic energy and they can easily move everywhere. Why they can easily move everywhere? Why they have a high kinetic energy? Because the thermal energy is high there. So since the thermal energy is high, the particles can gain the energy and convert itself in that energy to the kinetic energy that can move all over throughout the surrounding. Okay, so that's why we can say that in the gases thermal energy is high. That's why the molecules can move apart from each other. That is interrelated to what? Internal force of attraction. That is the intermolecular force of attraction. Since the intermolecular force of attraction is weak, thermal energy will be high. Okay, so in the case of gases, thermal energy is what? Is high. Okay, so this is about the factors which decides the physical state of matter. attraction and the thermal energy. Okay, so thermal energy means the energy which allow the molecules which will give a kinetic energy and allow the molecules to move apart. If the intermolecular force of attraction is strong, the molecules will be having no thermal energy, there won't be any kinetic energy, therefore the molecule will not be able to move apart, they just oscillate at the mean position. Understood? So that is about the factors, two important factors, intermolecular force and the thermal energy, which decides the physical state of your matter. Next, coming to the characteristics of solids. So what are the characteristics of solids? So when you compare solid, liquid and gases. So here we are learning about the solid state. So we are concentrating mainly on the characteristic of the solid. Along with this we can compare for what the liquid and the gaseous state also. They have definite mass, volume and shape. See, if I consider this duster, it has its own mass. It has its own volume and it has its own shape. It will not be changed when I keep on the right side or when I keep on the left side or when I place it in any other shaped container. It will not remain as the same shape itself. So they have a definite mass, volume and the shape. What is the reason for that? Because the constant particles are compactly arranged. Okay, they are not, the intermolecular force of attraction is strong. They are fixed. Someone is there to rule them. Someone is there which makes them to sit at one side. That is intermolecular force of attraction. So that's why they have definite mass, volume and the shape is definite. Now when you compare to if this is the liquid has a mass, they have a volume, we can measure the volume, but what about the shape? So since I have taken in this bottle, the liquid is showing the shape of this bottle. When I pour it in a round shape bottle, the liquid will take the shape of the, that is a round shape, that is the shape of the bottle. So we can say they have a mass, they have a volume, we can measure the volume. When I place, I can measure 500 ml, 250 ml, we can measure, they have a volume. It is measurable. But what about the shape? They do not have a definite shape. It changes with the shape of the container in which it is placed. Next, the short intermolecular distance. Intermolecular distance is short. You know that the constant particles are held closer because of the strong intermolecular force of attraction, and because of that, the distance between the constant particles will be what? It is short. They have short intermolecular distance, and also they have strong intermolecular force of attraction. Whereas in the case of gases will be randomly moving. They have a weak intermolecular force of attraction. So what about the distance? Distance is long. They do not have a short intermolecular distance. Okay. Next, coming to the so intermolecular force already I have told you. Next, constant particles oscillates. The particles will not be able to move all over around like a gas, but they can oscillate in their mean position. So the constant particles can oscillate. Next, they are incompressible and rigid. They are rigid, they are fixed, they cannot be compressed. Particles are already compressed, they are already close to each other. We cannot further make them to bring them closer to each other. But the gases, they are far apart from each other. There is a space between the constituent particles, so we can bring them closer to each other by applying a pressure or the force. So when you apply the pressure, they can be compressible, that is gas, because we have a space here between the constituent particles, but the solids are incompressible. Okay, so that is the meaning of the last point, that is they are incompressible and they are rigid, they are fixed, they are firm. Okay, so these are the characteristic features or the characteristics of the solids. So students, note down this point. Okay, so now after learning the characteristics of the solids, now let us learn about the types of the solids. So you have performed in your lab also, you have, whenever I give you any salt, you have checked in your chemistry lab, first thing preliminary test you are going to do in appearance is whether the given solid is crystalline or amorphous, right? So here also the same thing we are going to learn here, the classification of the solids or the types of the solids, that is crystalline and the amorphous solids. So based on the properties of the solids, we have classified the solids into, based on the properties, the solids are classified into crystalline and the amorphous solids. So now, what are the properties we are going to learn for the crystalline and amorphous? This can also be considered as a difference between crystalline and amorphous, or what are the properties of crystalline solids, what are the properties of amorphous solids. Okay, so now crystalline solids, you might have seen the crystals or the whenever you go to the diamonds, so most commonly girls are attracted towards the crystals, gemstones, right? Because they have their own characteristic property, luster, shiny property. They are somewhat attractive for us, like diamond, any other crystals, right? Gemstones. So, but what about the amorphous solids? Charcoal. You have seen the charcoal. So that charcoal is not that attractive when you keep diamond or any gemstones along with that. So we are attracted towards the crystalline solids more. So because the property of those crystalline solids is something which makes us attractive. Okay. So now let us learn what are the properties of crystalline and amorphous solids along with the difference between them. Okay. So the first one, shape. They have definite characteristic geometrical shape. Which one? The crystalline solids have definite characteristic geometrical shape. For example, see this here. If you have a crystalline solid, the constant particles, if you take a piece of solid, in that the particles will be definitely arranged with some pattern. Again like this. So they have definite pattern of arrangement. The arrangement of the constant particles will be definite. If one is big, one is small, there are two or more different constant particles. If the particles are different, two or more different constant particles, but those particles are arranged in the definite pattern. Regular pattern, it is repeated, the pattern is repeated throughout. So they have a definite characteristic geometrical shape, it has its own geometrical shape. Whenever you learn a small portion of the crystalline structure, so whenever for example, if a piece of crystal is given and when you are asked to consider it as a diamond, and are you able to identify the diamond? Yes, gemologist means a person who studies about the gems. So they know the clear idea about that. Whenever you give any crystal, for diamond, they will be having its own geometrical shape, geometrical arrangement. So they will compare that arrangement with the pattern of the arrangement in the diamond. So if it matches with that, then we can consider it as a diamond, or else it is not a diamond. It is actually, it may be some synthetic stones. Okay, it is a man-made or synthetic stones it is. It is not the natural diamond one. So, because that can be identified only when the crystals have a definite shape, okay, and geometrical arrangement. So, they have a definite characteristic geometrical shape. Which one? Crystalline. Whereas amorphous, they have an irregular shape. When you take a charcoal at one time, when you study the arrangement of the carbon particles there, that is different. When you take another piece of the charcoal and when you study that, the arrangement is once again different. Okay, so the arrangement will be different here for what? The amorphous solid. Arrangement of constant particles will be different. Next, melting point. Coming to the melting point. So since they are regularly arranged, they will be having its own melting point, definite melting point. It melts at a particular temperature itself. They have a sharp melting point. Whereas amorphous solids, they do not have a sharp melting point. They soften over it, they melt not at a particular point. For suppose if it melts at 120 degree, then next it melts at 114, then 113. So entire range, it considers, it takes a range of temperature to melt. Okay, it melts over the entire range of temperature. So that may be because of the another characteristic property that we will learn, we will discuss in the next points. Okay, so now they have a sharp melting point. Amorphous solid, they melt over the entire range of temperature. They do not have a particular melting point. Okay. Next, coming to the cleavage property. Okay. So whenever, if you hit any crystalline substance, suppose you hit or you break a diamond. Diamond is the hardest substance. It is not that easy to break a diamond. You can use a sharp edge tool, or you can use another diamond piece to hit that one, right? So whenever, if you hit, don't try it at home, students, don't hit the diamond. So if you make a piece of diamond, the fragments, the particles or the pieces we are getting when you break the diamond, those pieces, that is the diamond or any crystalline substance, they cut into two pieces when you hit with a sharp edge with a smooth surface. The surface of the pieces we have got, it will be smooth. They cut into two pieces with a smooth surface. Okay, so the cut into two pieces with smooth and plain surface. The surface will be plain, and one more interesting property is whatever the pieces we are getting, all those pieces will be of same shape. Okay, they cut into two pieces or with the same shape and smooth surface. We won't get any sharp surface there. They cut into pieces with a smooth surface. Okay, so that is about the property of what? Crystalline substance. But when you consider amorphous, for amorphous I can give you an example of glass. So glass, you expect it to be crystalline when you look at the structure, when you look at the physical appearance of the glass, you consider it as a crystalline, but it is not actually crystalline. When you break the glass, whatever the fragments, pieces we are getting, those pieces will be having sharp edges. You might have noticed that even in the chemistry lab, you have broken some of the glassware there. You have seen there the cut into the pieces with the sharp edges, and whatever the fragments, pieces we are getting, those all are of not same size, same shape, and those pieces will not be having a smooth surface. That is the cleavage property. Okay, and what is the reason for this one? So in the diamond, the particles are, or in the crystals, I am not just taking an example of diamond, in the crystals, the particles are regularly arranged, and when you hit these crystals, crystalline substance, they won't cut into any places of their wish. They have a particular point where they are cut into pieces. So if it cut into, if this is the area to be cut, then it will be cutting here itself. It will not make a crack anywhere. Okay, they cut